Hey FLOSSTUBE, it's Leigh from Creative Leigh on Sunday the 16th of March 2025 with FLOSSTUBE number 260. Welcome back to my weekly YouTube channel about counted cross stitch. Fresh out of the shower. I wanted to get a few stitches in before I showered and I did that, so I'll show you that shortly with my stitching. It's a bit of a meh day here in Upper Hutt in the Wellington region of New Zealand. It's a bit gloomy, a bit sort of misty, rainy, and that's pretty much as exciting as it gets, I think. I had a completely quiet day yesterday. I stayed home. I didn't even get dressed. I decided I needed a day in my PJs. I don't even own PJs, but nightshirt. I did some baking, I made some bread and had a nap and potted around and did quite a bit of stitching. So after the kind of hubbub of the last month, maybe a few weeks, 2 months, I started my new job 2 months ago. So 2 months, it was nice just to have a really quiet day at home. I did have friends invite me around to their place for a very casual dinner. They had other people around, and what's another mouth to feed when you're making a pile of pizza in the pizza oven. But if it had have just been my friends and her family, I probably would have gone, but she had other friends and I wasn't really in the mood for kind of socializing with people I don't know. I did, a lot of socializing last weekend. My hair's wet from the shower and that bit's annoying me. So I just said, anyway, I said, look, I'm going to stay home and just have a quiet one. And then I went and had a nap at 4 o'clock. So, and she said like dinner was at 5 because the friends had little kids. And I'm like, not only was I not in the mood for socializing with people I don't know, I 100% wasn't in the mood for being around other people's children that I don't know. But anyway, blah, blah, blah. Quiet day at home yesterday. It was just what I needed. And I enjoyed the quiet and I enjoyed kind of getting nothing done, really. Like I did nothing. I did stitching, but that's 100% luxury, right? I did nothing. I didn't do housework. I didn't mow the lawns. I didn't do any laundry, either at the laundromat or at my neighbour's. I didn't do anything. I read a little bit. Coffee. Just poured myself a huge cup of, I was going to say homebrew, cold brew, brewed at home, but not beer. So yeah, once I've sucked that down, I'm going to be bouncing off the walls. Last week was an okay week. A couple of late nights, a 1:30 a.m. and an 11:30 p.m, but a couple of nights, knocked off by 7, and then Friday knocked off at essentially 4:30. My friend Lauren drove over from her home 2 hours-ish away, and we went to the ballet. It was the first of the year. It felt like it was a long time coming. So we went to, it was Royal New Zealand Ballet with Scottish Ballet. So they had a mixed bill, 4 pieces, 2 each from the Royal New Zealand Ballet, and 2 pieces from Scottish Ballet. Really, really enjoyed it. It was nice to go out and be staying up late for something fun and entertaining and not work. So no work this weekend. Could do work this weekend, but we've left the developers to do some stuff, sort the shit out and get the next bunch of stuff ready for testing. I'm going to try and try to remove myself from a little bit of the testing because it's a new thing that's coming in for testing. So I would have to learn it anyway. So there's an opportunity for someone else to learn it, and maybe I could then go and do my actual job, which I'm not really sure what that is yet, but it's not meant to be 100% or 150% of the time testing. But otherwise, it was pretty good week. We survived. We made it through, and I did get quite a bit of stitching done. compared to the week before when I got hardly any stitching done. So let's do the stitching thing. I have nothing new. I haven't bought anything or received anything in the mail. I will be getting some market releases eventually once Helen has them in her hot little hand and can get them out to me. So I guess the next week or so they might start trickling in. But yeah, all I've done a bit of stitching. So let me show you what that is. First up, I carried on with Keeper of the Pins. You'll recall I was working on this one. What was that one called? Needles and Thread, the little sampling one here. I had started that. It was my retreat start last week, but I only started at like 3 p.m. on the last day, so I didn't get it finished. But I decided I might as well get it finished and carried on with that. So first of all, we have that one. So I found some random beads and put the little pin heads in. I'm not sure where I was about here. And also I had started that letter, and then I realized when I picked it up that it was starting to look like an E. The very top of a D and the E are the same. One has 3 X's along the E and one has 2 the D. So I had to frog that a little bit, but I was going to have 3 E's in my needle. So yeah, I got that one done. So these are being stitched, stitched along with my friend Judith and my friends Judith and Narissa. And we don't have any kind of goal or anything. We're just chipping away at it. Mine is on about 34-ish count. It was a 32, but it's an overdye, and it is stitching about 34 count. It was a misdye. It was from a, kind of a off dye box from Country Stitch, from Catherine at Country Stitch, and I'm using all the called for apart from the red. Even though it's charted for my favorite red, which is DMC 22, I wanted it to have a little bit more something, so I'm using a Silks for You, which I didn't write down. I feel like 047, would that be right? Where did I get that from? I have a huge handkerchief, 57. It's beautifully, this is what my hair looks like after the shower. Completely knotted and tangled. And then I'll comb through it and lose half of it. Yeah, 057. This was gifted to me, like a half hank from Barb back in 2020, I think. Anyway, so that's the only substitution that I've done. And of course, beads just from my stash. Sorry, just write something down. So that was started on the 9th at retreat, and I finished it on the 11th. Then you'll also notice I've got a start date under the other one. So Stitch Bird is one that I was going to start when I was at retreat, but I realised I didn't have the DMC pulled, because it does also have some call for DMC. So on the 11th, that was my mum's birthday, working from home, I get to do a bit more stitching. I got Stitch Bird stitched. So yeah, that was a start and finish on the 11th. And again, butt ton of beads. Again, didn't use any machinery, appliances, accoutrement to help manage the beads, and I spilt them. It was only a partial packet of beads. It's now even less. It's even more of a partial. There are less now because a whole bunch inside of my couch. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. I need to not do that. I need to get up, get the tacky bill, sprinkle the beads on it. Anyway, I'm really happy with it. You can see the little bit of movement and the red on the, that red is a pretty solid red, but because it is a hand-dyed silk, it does have that little bit of variation. You can see there's a little bit of darker and then a little bit of lighter. So I love how that turned out. That's DMC. And the bird, I'd say that my colours, when was this chart released? 2022, I don't know that long ago. Certainly this picture, little bird looks more blue, I think, down here. And of course my fabric is slightly greeny. I think mine looks a little bit greener grey. But just when you stitch this bird, it's all one colour, but you stitch the main body of the bird with one strand, and then the wings you stitch with 2 strands. So it just gives a little bit more weight to it, I guess. You wouldn't think that 1 strand over 2, but given this is about a 34 count, originally a 32, and I'm using 1 strand, the coverage is pretty darn good. I am so happy with how that turned out. So yeah, 2 down. How many to go? 3 to go, but I'm not in any hurry. I'm going to sit on it. I'll sit on it, Richie, for a little bit while I let the other ladies get not caught up per se, but you know, make a little bit of progress. There's no hurry, even though I could go rip, shit and bust and finish all that probably in a week if I wanted to. I picked up on the 13th, which is my mum's twins' birthday, because they're 2 days apart because they're weird. They were weird. So it was Claire's birthday, but around the 13th of the month, I'm stitching the Garden Club series. So I picked that up. So this is, I was part 12, because you know me, I start at the bottom. So I've done 10, 11, 12, and then I'll come up and do 7, 8, 9, blah, blah, blah. But so it was part 12, which for me is the 3rd month, the way I'm stitching it, which was this one. Very dark. These pictures are very dark. I don't know if these were this dark, but mine's a lot brighter, which I'm very happy with. So this is, yeah, an older Blackbird series. When did this come out? I don't know. Where is the little... 2016. Crikey. 9 years ago. So, yeah, part 12 for March. This is, I'm doing this just a monthly project rather than doing a whole lot of monthly stitch-alongs this year, or I don't know even if I did one last year. I'm just picking my own kind of monthly project, because that way I'm just better knowing what's coming rather than stitching, waiting for something that's a miss. I'm not really into mystery is really what I'm saying. It's also really bite-sized for me, you know, stitch it mostly in a night. I think I actually didn't finish this. I think I finished this on... Let me just show you what it's about. So this is on 40 count linen, dyed by me. I'm doing it on one piece, but I've kind of splotchy dyed the fabric very, very subtly, I'll admit. I originally wanted to go darker, but it would have meant a second round of dye and I couldn't be bothered. But yeah, splotchy to give each of the segments a slightly different color in the background, using all the called for. So mostly Gentle Arts, I think. Yeah, no, yes. Started on the 13th of January, so I decided this was kind of a mid-month project. So where are we at? Here is, so yeah, Thursday and then a little bit on Friday. Here's the whole thing. 3 down, 9 to go. And I'll show you the close-up of where I stitched. Here we go here. So the first of the 2-parters, so just a lovely yellow bowls of yellow flowers. And that one, that's one section. The house is actually like 3 different colors, but they're very, very similar shades. So there are 2 shades of tan, and the house is a little bit of kind of around here. My colors are very similar. I don't mind it, but it just is. I think that, and then the house is old purple paint. Again, tonally very similar. When you look at the model, which is, you know, it looks like it was filmed in the dark in a blimmin' cupboard. When you look at the door and the roof, the old purple paint must have used to have been far out. Must have been a lot darker, and it's my old purple paint's faded over time. Yeah, just really different, or they stitched it in a completely different color but charted it for old purple paint. I mean, yeah, 9 years ago, who knows what the dye was. You can see that the 2 colors in the houses are pretty tonal. The colors around the windows, I mean, even the pot is quite a dingy grey, and mine is a lot brighter. So my piece is coming out to be a whole lot more fresh and bright, I think, than what the original was. But I'm loving it. It's such a fun little stitch. Doesn't take very long at all. Just a reminder of what it looks like on, where's part 12? That was part 12. Somewhere they've got like the whole thing. So that's when it was, this model was stitched with all the different pieces of fabric. Obviously this is a lot lighter than that looks. Like the photography is a bit brighter in this one here. But yeah, they must have recorded it, filmed it, photographed it in candlelight. But what I'm terribly excited about, so I've done part 8, 10, 11, 12, and then I'll start here. Well, look, it's the pomegranate. So that's part 7, and I'll do part 7 in April. I'm very excited. So it's another two-parter. What? And mine are gonna go there. So one of them, this bit here has got a little bit of kind of mauvey sort of smudginess in it. That was a bit lighter, so that'll be my pomegranate, and then the flower. I'm excited about that because, you know, the main reason I wanted to do this whole design was because of that pomegranate. Could I have just bought the pomegranate? I could have, but that seems a little bit relevant. Oh, what was that one called? So the one I searched, number 12, was all in a row, and then part 7 is climbing the trellis. So yay, I'm very pleased with that. It's a lovely little project and I enjoy stitching on it. And then when did I pick this up? Oh, yesterday. Yesterday you know how I mentioned I did nothing? I did nothing except stitch on my Fraktur 15. So Fraktur 15, by Stitching Spell, named by me, Fernando and Philomena. Philomena is that one, and Fernando is here. So this is on 40 count Bourbon linen from Country Stitch, and using my own DMC conversion. Colours that were similar to the called for, but were in my stash. And with this one I did use number 22, my favourite red, instead of the red that's called for in here, which was 355. The colours in the chart were too bright for me. The white was like 0, which is B5200, because some charting software can't handle the B5200, so it's just 0. So that's too white to go on that kind of vintagey yellow. And then, yeah, 355, 728, 731, 921 is called for, and 3021 called for, but the others I changed. It was just too bright. I didn't want it to be quite so bright. So anyway, you might have noticed when I looked at this, when I picked this card up, that I've got a finish date. Yeah. So when I showed you this last week, I had stitched it the week that I then missed a video. I got hardly anything done, but I got the border done, and I picked it up yesterday and I got to about 92%. So that felt criminal to not just get up and finish it. So I got up and finished it. And I love it. I love it so much. Love it so much. You can see, you know, I went with that much kind of more goldy color than the bright yellow. Just this bourbon colored fabric from Country Stitch did not suit the bright yellow. But here's the mock-up, and here's my, and I think mine just, I mean, mock-ups, digital mock-ups are only ever gonna, they always look very flat and they lack texture, right? This has texture. And even though it's DMC, you still get some movement with the DMC, because, you know, it's a stitched woven thread. and it catches the light. So even though it's a solid colour, you still get a little bit of movement with it because it's a textured thing. It's not flat like paper. So yeah, I just love it. I love it so much. So I used what I used 746 for the white. So even though that's a very pale cream, because it's on this fabric with all these rich colors, you know, it looks white, but it's not like Snow White. B5200 would have just been too stark. And I mean, don't these berries look purple? Like, can you look at those berries, those grapes? They look like they might be grape colored. They are 3021, which is a dark beige grey. Beige does have a pinkiness in it, so it does have that slight sort of hint at purple, even though it's not purple. I couldn't love this more. It is making my heart sing, and I could not and it's such a good one for color completion. I got all the green in, and then I got all the, I don't remember what color, but anyway, I am so happy. So that's the last of my currently in my stash Fractur birds. I haven't bought any more. Will I buy some more in the future? Possibly, but I kind of have a nice little collection now. And when I go to Christchurch, geez, in less 2 weekends, I'm taking my Frakturs down to Art and Frame, to the lovely Tanya, to get them framed for me, to frame them for me. And I thought, well, since I've showed you Fernando and Philomena, I'll show you the other Frakturs to remind you what I've got when digging through the massive pile of stuff to be framed. And I guess we'll start with the couple that started this whole Fraktur debacle, which of course is, I've got to go through my cards here, Frederick and Frederica. And that's where I then decided I needed to name all the birds, because they're such cool old-fashioned names. Why would you not want to name them? Why would I not want to name them? So thanks to everyone who helped me come up with lovely old-fashioned names for my Frakturs. So these are from Carriage House Samplings, and I've searched all of my Frakturs on 40 count. So I've got 40 count drifting sands from Country Stitch. Again, Country Stitch fabrics are going to feature a lot because, hello, they're great and local. And Catherine's awesome. So these were called for DMC. I made a couple of changes with Frederick's border, and then Frederica's just ended up a couple of unplanned changes. But so Frederick was stitched in 2022, one of my 50 at 50, and then Frederica came along. I started her at the end of 23 and finished her last year. So we've got Frederick. So here's Frederick. So Frederick is just, I know that is Frederick. Lucine. So Frederick is just charming and glorious. And again, DMC, they charted for MPIs and have a DMC conversion. I did the DMC. Perfect example of how DMCs are wonderful and luscious and glorious, and you don't necessarily need to spend a fortune on MPIs, Leigh. I filled in the border. So where the border has that kind of, these are actually two shades of, let's call them cream. The inside row is actually a different shade of cream than the outside row. You can't really tell. You sort of can tell in person. I don't even know if you need to bother. You can't really tell in person, but they are different colours. So on the chart, Frederick wasn't filled in. He just had the background fabric showing. But I had Frederica and she was filled in. And I decided that I would fill in Frederick, because why not add a whole bunch of stitching to a chart just to make them match. Anyway, Frederick is just fabulous, and no wonder Frederica thought he was a bit of hot stuff. And then a couple of years later, Frederica came along, and she is a little bit more delicate. The borders are kind of, her border thingies are different. Frederick's he's got some solid, I don't even know if you care, but I kind of care. Like they're the same but different. He has he either has some solid ones, which yay for solid, but he has some little kind of dark inner diamonds. She doesn't, she just has little dots. So hers were a bit quicker to stitch. And the personalizations for her, again, she's in DMC, is that some of her diamonds are completely not as charted because I just didn't care. So if there was a couple that were really random, like the only place that color appeared, I was like, I stitched it in what was on my, so they're not the same, but, so her border's a little lighter, I feel, even though it's very similar, I feel like she has a lightness to her compared to Frederick. Their color palettes, their DMC palettes are the same, all but I think one. I think they each have one different color, but the rest of the palette's the same. And anyway, I was happy to pass those charts on as part of my, was it my 5-year giveaway? So I can't remember who got them, but I hope you're enjoying them and that you stitch them up. They're such wonderful stitches and I really, really love them. These are all in no particular order, by the way, but who else do we want to bring up? I think we've got Fraktur 12. So I bought a couple from Stitching Spell back on Etsy. And this one is, who did I call him? I've got their names written down. What did I call him? Where's his name? Chester, Bertram, Oscar, Percival. I can't remember. I know I've written it down on a spreadsheet because I'm a nerd. I've named all the other little birds, but what was his name? Oh my gosh, I can't remember. Nah, I'm terrible with names on a good day, let alone, I didn't write it down. So I can't remember what I called him, the main bird, but I named all the others. So we've got like Chester, Bertram, Oscar, but spelt like kind of Russian or something, Jasper, Percy or Percival, and then, oh my gosh, he's not Maurice. Maurice is coming. Nah, can't remember. Doesn't matter. I'll find out. It's written in a spreadsheet. So this again was a digital mock-up. And what did I write on here? So 40 count corn straw. Oh, this was another 50 at 50. Also by Country Stitch, of course. And I largely charted, but I wrote here, I amped up a couple of the colours, again on my fabric, and then I felt like the called for, I think the tealy colour wasn't bright enough, and I think one of the oranges wasn't orange enough, so I think the other two I changed. And I love the weird wacky flowers on this one. So this is this one here. Again, this is Corn Straw by Country Stitch. And I mean this flower and this flower over here, amazing. I loved that the border was kind of random. I'm pretty sure I made some personalizations in that border, but I can't remember what they were. I'm pretty sure something didn't add up, but you know, you make it work. And yeah, I love this one. I can't remember her name. I feel like it starts with P, but who knows. So yeah, that was that one. When did I stitch him? June. No, that's the wrong card. Started September 22, finished in March 23. And then we had a couple of Kathy Barracks. So this one I bought a PDF for. This is Pennsylvania Fractur Birds, and I personalised it. They had a name of somebody in their place of whatever. So I used a variation of the alphabet. I kind of made it up myself because I didn't have a full alphabet, but I loved how it had these long, wide letters and then suddenly little random letters. And I always write my McDonald with a little, what do you call it when it's like a Sir? not like a sub, I can't remember what you call it when you put the letter at the top, not have it below the line. Anyway, put my name in, and also my suburb where I was living, my house, and when I stitched this in 2023. I loved these birds. So this also I stitched in what did I write down? I did use my overdye cotton conversion. So this is on, I wrote these cards for a reason, right? So 40 count merino linen from Country Stitch, and I used my own overdye conversion. This was started in March 23, finished in June 23. And I love that the birds were not filled in, and I love how they're all different shapes and sizes and have slightly different, their crowns are different, and I love that there's little fat ones and little skinny ones, and also it meant that when you stuffed them up, it didn't really matter. I've definitely got a couple of birds that are the wrong height, that, one ended up taller and one ended up shorter. I know I got the counting on the sides wrong. It's nothing to line up with, and a couple of these rows don't start and finish where they're supposed to, but I don't care. So, and when I charted my name, I cocked it up. I could have made it fit a bit better, but my D went slightly over, but whatever, who cares? They're all a bit random. I love that all the flowers are different, and I love this design so much. So there's that one there. And then my lovely friend Zeb loaned me a couple of charts, and one of them was sort of a companion piece, I guess. And it's Pennsylvania Fractur Heart, also by Kathy Barrick, and I stitched this on not a Country Stitch fabric, a scrap of 40 count Tickle the Ivory from Dames of the Needle, Dames of the Needle, and I used my own overdyed cotton conversion, and I personalised the border. So, and I wrote chart on loan from Zeb. Thank you, Zeb. And yeah, this is why I keep all my little scraps, because you can squeeze a little whatever on here. So again, it's the same bird, or one of the birds, but this time they're fully stitched, and rather than being in relief, and the same flowers, and just a similar but very different. So this one had, again, that same person's name. So the person's name that was on this one, can't remember what her name was. And then it had all the alphabet. So what was great is, I had the alphabet now. So what I did was, I put my name on as well. And then what did I write? So I put my name, Leigh McDonald. And then I put Wallaceville Upper Hutt. So on this one here, I've got Trentham. So when I stitched this, the suburb that I live in was called Trentham. Then sometime in the end of 2023, the post office, whoever decides what the name of your suburb is, changed the name of our suburb. They moved us into Wallaceville. So where I live is in the estate that I built my house in was called Wallaceville Estate. That was just the name of the building project, development project. And the site of where my house was formerly the Wallaceville Ag Research Centre, or the Ag Research Centre. And prior to that, back in the olden days, it was the Wallaceville Farm. So I guess we were over, there was a line, a road, one side of it was Wallaceville, one side of it was Trentham. They moved that line. So I now live in Wallaceville, even though my house didn't move. So we're not in Kansas anymore, we're in Wallaceville. So I thought it was quite fun that when I stitched this one in 2024, I added in my name, and then I changed it to Wallaceville and Upper Hutt because it fit, and I just squeezed everything in as best I could. So I kind of like that it's a similar bird, but it's just the fact that it's kind of fun that I didn't move, but my address changed. So they felt like quite a lot to say that, but so professional on these videos. As I spill coffee down my front, everyone who knows me, I met there's quite a few people at retreat who watch my videos. Shay, thank you for coming and watching my video. There were some people who never heard of FLOSSTUBE, let alone me or Narissa. But I do get a lot of feedback that people go, we like how you adjust yourself. this is actually how I am. I'm not different. You wouldn't think that anyway. I don't know. So I've still got 2 more birds to show you. At the same time that Zeb, I nearly said Zebedee Doodah. I'm sorry, Zeb. Zeb loaned me the Pennsylvania Fraktur Hutt. She also loaned me Fraktur Frida from La Di Da. And I finally returned these to her last year. Terrible. So Fraktur Frida, I stitched on a 40 count Havana linen. It was a scrap that I had left over from my, is it H's Moth? No, I don't remember. And I used my own overdyed cotton conversion. So the model for Fraktur Frida was actually stitched on, did I say it was by La Di Da? The model for Fraktur Frida was stitched on Havana linen, but a lower count, might have been 32 or something, and I had the scrap of 40. And again, keep scraps because you can squeeze a little cutie on there. So I stitched this one, it was a start and finish on the 22nd of October in 2023. And cute. Yeah, no idea what the colours are, but they were just from my stash. I really like it. So thanks again, Zeb, for loaning me that. So just a nice little wee gap filler. Finally, last but not least, another stitching spell. I think I bought 3 of them. Fraktur 16 from Stitching Spell, and this one, he's Maurice. I guess some people might say Morris, but I say Maurice. I think of like that song. 40 count Sahara linen from Country Stitch using, surprise, surprise, oh, this one's a partial DMZ conversion. So these Frakturs that I bought from Stitching Spell, they're all DMC. And again, I just want to change colours where to suit my fabric, or because I feel like 921s appeared a lot in these, and maybe 22. And there's Maurice, and he's feeding. I don't really get it. Like, there's the 3 babies. I don't name the 3 babies. The triplets need to be named, but we'll leave that for another day. I love his wing and the tail, and he was a real quick one. Again, he was stitched in June 23, started on the 11th and finished on the 28th. And I love that these 3 little birds are in the bird bath, and I don't know, it's just, yeah, his wing's cool. And what does it say down the bottom? Oh, pelican in its piety. Apparently it's pelican. Doesn't look like a pelican, but whatever. It's very handsome, and I love him. So I decided it was him because, or they identify as a he, whatever. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Frakturs. It's a lot, but there's quite a few little ones, and I'm going to take them to Christchurch, and I'm going to hand them over to my friends at Art and Frame. And I think I mentioned last week, I'm going to be Dad's paying for these. So Dad's estate will settle in a few weeks, and Dad's paying for these birds. So I'm thinking about Dad because of him. He really got joy in the last handful of years feeding his birds. And when I say his birds, they weren't his birds, they were just birds. And he got more and more particular about how he fed them. So he had to have he fed them bread. They were fine, none of them died. But he bought bird seed, he bought like wild bird seed, and he made little things for like the tuies and stuff like out of fat and like lard and various things. And he had bird feeders, and they got fed all sorts of random things. And he put out like a buffet for them every couple of mornings, and he would stand at the window and just watch the birds come in and fight over the bird feeders. And it's sort of funny, watch how soon you put you don't see a bird, you put your food out and then watch, there's the word spreads, and then within minutes you've got like every bird in the neighbourhoods on the backyard and stuff. So yeah, thanks Dad for that. I'm going to frame these for you, and then got a space in my spare room where I'll put all the Frakturs together, and yeah, put some holes on the wall really in honour of Dad. So that's my plan, to take them down. So yay. Poor Tanya, so much lacing. I could lace them myself, but I'm not going to. I've got too much to do. I have laced in the past, but that was when I was paid very poorly in my job, so I had to do it to save money. But I used to lace all my pieces back in the 90s, but yeah, we don't need to do that anymore. That's it really. Yeah, it was quite a lot. I thought I'd show you my Frakturs. Did that, dug them all out of the cupboard. Pretty sure there aren't any more. My stack of finishing's massive. And I think I'm pretty keen. I need to get a couple of other things framed this year, but we'll start with this lot. And it'll be good to get, yeah, didn't get anything finished last year, and I'm really looking forward to having all these together in a complementary bunch, and then yeah, put them on the wall. Yay for getting a cluster of Frakturs on the wall. Okay, I gotta finish up, gotta edit this, a little bit to cut out, and go have my coffee, because I've still got quite a bit in my mug. And who knows, maybe I'll start tidying my craft room, which is an absolute diabolical shambles. Okay, I'll see you all next week, and in the meantime, as always, don't let your needles rust. Ciao.